Hello and welcome to Voice of Generation X with Andrea Lambert. I know it's been a minute. I was between foundation sticks and exploring the wonders of these, let's show them to you, the most wondrous things. Meta smart glasses where I can be behind the camera instead of in front of it, which was a fun journey. I am still making YouTube videos, which can be viewed on my YouTube channel if you feel like checking them out. So basically, the reason I'm podcasting today is I was having this fascinating little discussion. Okay, full on argument, but I was trying not to get ugly because I would take to fight a middle-aged woman. See, girls. And I was like, I must remember that the discussion was with a young man who, basically of the age bracket of which I would have been his professor. And I have the education and the training, if only that unfortunate schizophrenic break hadn't bopped right in and knocked me out of the playing field. But anyway, the discussion was about happy endings. Happy endings, the HEA, happily ever after. Now, according to the Romance Guild of America, the HEA is a requirement for a romance novel. And as you may or may not know, I tend to write edgy literary fiction. Like, this is my first novel. Things like this, they're about, drugs and, mental illness and addiction recovery, this one. Or I have some books of essays. But this is the one book I have written that was, I don't think it was the book up for discussion. I was kind of trying to make it the book up for discussion because Hollywood Hedwig, as you can see, it's a beautiful paperback put out by Rorschach Publications, is now available on Amazon yet again. And you don't have to order it all the way from India, which is great because I tried to order a copy from my local library and it didn't make it. But anyway, I'm very thankful for my publisher for doing this. And hey, it's the one of my books, Hollywood Hedwig, that is actually in which the characters have a good time. Lena Cosentino, the penultimate heroine, my alter ego, has a rather successful love affair, a non-abusive relationship, hey, with a nice man who, since he's a real person, who I was writing the book about while I was dating, which I must say isn't so great for relationships. Sorry. But that's private. That's my personal business and really does not belong on the air. Anyway, this book does not have a happy ending. In this book, the protagonist, Lena Cosentino, ends up alone, as did I, when I broke up with this man in Los Angeles and moved to Reno, Nevada, where I now reside. So, the discussion on Threads, the new Twitter, if you will, the new Twitter as far as I'm concerned, the discussion basically was around the fact that this book, when I was in the hurried stage of putting it on, I guess, in the grand register of books which exist, which involves a lot of computer whatnot and classifying it. And it's usually at the last minute when I'm asked, before I publish it, when I'm asked what the genres are. So I just thought quickly, and it was like romance, because it's all about a love affair, the entire book. I did not know at that time that the Romance Novel Guild of America had those rules about happy endings. I did not know that people felt so strongly, and I'm not even sure that people do. One young man on the internet does not equal a massive international audience who may or may not be eating this up. I will say it's juicy, and has lots of that spicy stuff in it because, well, I was a younger woman once upon a time. Anyway, so that was the discussion, and he was just getting so like riled up, and I was like, now, if I were a professor, this would be the point when I would say, okay, how about we widen the discussion to the rest of the class, or the rest of the internet, the rest of the Fediverse, or the rest of you all. So weigh in if you feel like it. How do you feel about happy endings in novels in general? Because I'm not a genre writer. I'm a literary fiction writer. I don't write romance novels, and it wasn't my intention to offend anyone, especially the Romance Novel Guild, who has not said a word, of course, because they're more dignified than that. But this little fellow was throwing around some rather strong language, and I'm like, I think you might want to edit your speech a bit, and also, where where was I when respect for one's elders went out the window? I mean, I'm willing to have a discussion, but there's also the factor of, I mean, if this was a classroom, I'd be like, let's open the discussion to the rest of the class, leave it for about 15 minutes while go take a hot bath, or in reality, in the classroom, sit back and file my nails or something, and then come in at the end with something like, okay, why don't you all write a 3-page preface of your thoughts on the subject? Happy endings, yes or no? Genre or no genre? And that's your homework for tonight. Class dismissed. You, principal's office. That would be, like, hypothetically speaking. Or maybe not. I mean, it's true that I've only ever student taught at CalArts. I did student teach for 2 semesters, so I have sat in front of a classroom and tried to guide young minds about literature. We talked about, The Handmaid's Tale and good stuff like that. And unfortunately, I was starting too late. I was too old. And I had a tendency to dress like Joan Jett, which was kind of a distraction, I think. But whatever. Bygones. Bygones. Returning to the present, what do you, person out there, people out there, eyes and ears, and people watching this, think about happy endings in general in literature? Because this is literature-specific discussion. Happy endings in romance novels versus happy endings in other types of books, or what you prefer, or what you hate. I mean, I'm honestly interested, and I'm not trying to have another fiery discussion. It just made me kind of think about, like, this is a hot topic. Stress is not from hot topic, but anyway, okay. Yeah, class dismissed. Please weigh in the comments. Thank you. Goodbye. Oops.